In August of 2024, Dustin experienced a seizure, an episode. I was not around, I was in the shower, and my children were in the living room with him. I heard Mason calling for his dad and asking his dad, "What are you doing? Why do you look like that?" So I came and saw Dustin on the ground, convulsing.
In the moment I was scared, so I just got my sister and went to my bedroom, and I told her we should play to get her distracted and go play with me. And my mom was calling 911, and my mom was trying to wake him up.
They identified it at the hospital on that visit as it was a misdiagnosis. They wouldn't say the word seizure. I'd never seen one before, but that's what it looked like to me.
The first seizure when it started, definitely didn't know what was going on. I kind of was sitting there. I felt a little weird, and then I came to, and I was surrounded by a bunch of EMS, fire department, and I think we were on the fourth or fifth seizure, which I think the third or fourth I kind of knew when they were coming. I could kind of can tell. It was almost like an aura, or it was you just had this weird feeling going through your body. So I think the last one was it was the worst. I felt it coming, so I stood up and I walked over and I sat down, and then you go out.
From August to February of this year, there were 4 or 5 more episodes, more seizures. Some happened at work, some happened, I think one more happened at home. Lots of ambulatory rides and hospital visits, and in February 11th was his worst episode.
Whenever I had the final one, they were like, "We think you should go get an MRI with contrast." So that's what I did. I went in there, and when it came in, I saw it, popped up, "Hey, you've got a new test result." So I go in there and I'm scrolling through it, and they're talking about the lesions, and at the very bottom it said multifocal glioblastoma. So I'm like, okay, I Google it, and multifocal glioblastoma pops up, and it's actually the worst version of the glioblastoma, because there's other versions of glioblastoma, and that one was actually the worst because of the multi areas of my brain. And of course, the first thing that pops up is, what's the survival rate? And of course it says 15 months. So I'm like, this can't, maybe this is just a mistake.
They called us a couple days later, and it was a late night phone call. So that doesn't feel good when a neurologist is calling you at about 8 o'clock at night. You don't really know what's going on, but you assume something not great. And it was there that the MRI and the neurologist had seen some concerning images. At the time, they referred to them as lesions. They thought maybe tumors. And so it was fast and furious after that. She said, "You need to get to Emory tomorrow," basically, put a referral in for a neurosurgeon at Emory. And it was that evening that we felt kind of the world crashing down around us, for sure. You hear the word glioblastoma and you hear the word tumor, and one Google search, and the prognosis is awful. And so I remember us standing in the backyard because we wanted to be away from the kids during this phone call, and I literally fell to the ground, just hearing those words and watching Dustin pace in the yard. It was dark, but I could see him pacing, after he hung up the phone call.
I dropped to my knees and I started praying. That was the first thing I did, because and I didn't really pray for myself. I prayed for my kids and my family, because when you think about it in your head, you're like, you've got a year tops, to go. I was worried, they're not going to be able to have their dad there. I'm not going to be, that's what I wasn't really, like I said, praying for myself. I was more worried about them, and the rest of their lives, because you got a 3-year-old, you got an 11-year-old, you just want them to be able to have their dad there. And then you got a wife that needs you there. The next day, I got a call actually from the Emory neurosurgeon saying, "Hey, I just got the referral," and she had immediately looked at it, and she's like, "This doesn't look good, but yeah, we need you to come down here as soon as possible. So, of course, I go down there, and she's like, I know this is fast. I know that this is pretty quick, but we want you to get you admitted tomorrow to get you in here for surgery so we can get in there and take a look at what this is. It was a brain biopsy because there's 5 different locations in my brain, and the 3 that were lowered towards my ear, towards this area, that's the ones they were going to check.
There was no diagnosis. She said, the surgeon called me after the surgery, and she said, typically I can go in and I can say, that is glioblastoma, that is a tumor. And she said, I have no idea what that was. And she said, and that's a good thing, because, and her words were, I thought I was gonna make a much more firm and harder phone call, that's what that was. But she said, I don't know what that was. And we had to wait, and there were tons more tests and time and pathology units, multiple pathologists that had his tissue. So no, we did not know. We didn't know.
Of course, as time went on, I went through the surgery, and I had 3 doctors come in right after, I think it was the next day after the surgery, and they had said, this is not glioblastoma, this is not cancer, but we think this is vasculitis, but it has to, of course, go out through the preliminary pathology. And so, I mean, at that point, I was like, okay, that's the amount of prayer showed me right there, like how powerful it is, and I mean, that I had to tell him, like, just give me a second, because, I just dropped into tears right then. I lost it.
10 days came and went. There were more appointments with the neurosurgeon, who said to us, hey, look, I want the pathology results as much as you, but it's not only in neuropathology, it's in another unit of pathology, because they couldn't figure it out. And so the unknown, again, we were back at square one. It felt like he had gone through brain surgery and we didn't have any answer. And so again, 4 weeks go by and we finally get a call and see his neurosurgeon again. And she goes through the pathology and was talking about how extremely rare vasculitis of the central nervous system is. Even, I think, words like 1 in a billion, it's so rare. And it was reassuring that a prognosis of 14 months had gone. It was a struggle to know that this is something he will face the rest of his life. Her words exactly were, your best friend is going to be your neurologist. And we were like grateful that we have a doctor in our corner, but also like, this is something you're going to face forever. I think the neurosurgeon was also very stressing very much that this is so rare that we don't know what treatment's going to look like. So again, it felt like we were back in the unknown of, well, what now? And that's a common theme, I feel like, with this journey, is just the next step is a little bit fuzzy every turn we take. So though grateful it's not glioblastoma, very grateful, there is a part of us that I think are the struggle of the unknowns of treatments and what this is and where it's originating. And he has tons more tests coming up and he has a procedure next week. I mean, it's just, the list is growing, but even through that, we are very grateful that it wasn't the original diagnosis that they thought.
The amount that God has been there it blows me away. I mean, it shows me, how powerful, prayer is, because the amount of people that have prayed for me, and that, just coming to find out, like, one person tells me that, that they've sent out prayers and it's, it's spread. And then other people tell me it's coming and it's just spread, it's just, it's hard to handle, it definitely is, because, sometimes you don't think you deserve all that, but the amount of prayer is definitely breathtaking.
My dad is like a hero to me because he's always there for us, and his role is like to protect us, and he makes everything so fun for us. He always taught me to like be yourself and be brave. My mom says no about me being in the military, but I'll probably become a police officer because I want to serve the country and protect my family.
We are so fortunate. I mean, I don't even think the word lucky touches how blessed and overwhelmingly fortunate we are to have the friends and the family that we have. They have just been everything to us. The prayers, the support, the what can I do? What do you need? It's been above and beyond. And I think we are so, again, grateful feels like not even the word, but we are so grateful for the people who have poured into us and just prayed for us and loved us through this season and before.
So every day is different. I mean, I definitely approach it differently. I mean, I try to, like I said before, live life in the moment instead of living life, in the future, trying to, just work towards every single day, or, just thinking about it, instead of just being in the moment, and, because like I said, you could sit there and look towards the past, the things that have caused you issues or, or the thing you want to be in the future. But if you're not working on that in the moment, then you're never going to get to that person you want to be in the future. It shows you how much love there is around you, and how much people care for you. I mean, when it blows me away. I mean, it shows you how powerful God is.